They have the hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandma Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe he had 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we... All right, Snickers, help me out.
Oh, what's going on, all you Detroit Tigers fans out there, rooting for everybody except for the Dodgers and the New York teams. How are you doing today, Nate?
Doing great, Nick. And we got our guest on early tonight. Ducky's doing some audio visual stuff for us. And so, how you doing tonight, Ducky?
Tonight, I mean, it's 9 a.m., so I don't know what time zone you're in, but
I'm in Minneapolis. It is still the middle of the night here.
Okay, yeah. What is it? That a 1 hour time difference, maybe two?
Hard to say. Dark outside.
I'm doing pretty good. I got my cup of coffee here. I've already had my breakfast. It's off to a good Saturday. It's warm here too.
Very nice. Glad to hear it. And how were your weeks last week?
I was a little bummed out, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, you lost a close one.
I did. Shouldn't have been close.
Yeah, on the show with a bunch of losers this week, unfortunately, people. So sorry about that. But I'm here. I'm a winner. Our bet last week, Nick, was obviously our head-to-head matchup, and
another close one.
Yeah, not a super close one. I did have the best week of the season, so it obviously stinks when you go up against a week having potentially my best week of the whole year.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of fun games that happened last year. Let's take a quick look at the standings, see what they've done to the scores here.
Nate, you've disabled screen sharing.
Oh, well, I will give it to you, Nick.
Yeah, a lot of fun ones here.
So, and just as a reminder to everybody, we are our bets are I am 4-0 right now. You haven't won one yet, Nick, but I think you're feeling good about this week's bet.
Yeah, definitely feeling good. But yeah, as we can see, Kyle's undefeated right now. Ducky got his first loss. And tied with Kenny, who beat him, and Nick Adams, who has a pretty good season going so far.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's a lot of 4-1 teams. It feels like there's only one 3-2 team, so it feels like the middle of the road area is very much up for grabs. I know 1-4 is not where you want to be, but I think this is the year where 1-4 might work because there are all these teams that aren't losing.
Yeah. Yeah, just looking at the playoff percentage, Matt at 3-2 is at 66%. Everyone else is sub 50. So, and everyone else still has a pretty good chance, other than Katie, who's 0-5. But got you, Karson, John, and whoever else that kick recovery team is at 2-3 here.
Kyler or Karson? I think
Kyler, yeah.
Kyler, yeah. And basically how I think about the fantasy season now that we have I think it's 14 regular season games, is that you're allowed 6 losses. You might be able to go with 7 losses. So no one's out of this yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if last year an 8-6 team did not make the playoffs. So I'd say 6 losses is probably where you want to be. Can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree that sometimes a 7 team might make it. You're playing with fire there, and at 8-6, yeah, I think someone got eliminated last year at 8-6.
Kenny was 8-6, and he didn't make it in.
That's right. That was a bit of a weird year, though. I wonder if that will be different this year.
I don't know if anyone. I think everyone was like 9-4. I don't think anyone had double-digit wins.
Yeah, no. Last year was pretty competitive going into the playoffs, and then all of a sudden the low seeds just took over. And the 6th seed obviously won the chip last year. But
And as we had noticed before the show started, Nick, you have been the officially the unluckiest team so far in terms of points against. And
Yeah,
so, I
yeah.
mean,
The defense got to be better.
some people just get screwed that way, but um, probably not a
My
coincidence.
something that my coworker pointed out is that like a lot of times you see the most points against on the lower teams because they don't have to play they have to play the higher teams, whereas like I don't play myself and I'm averaging almost 110 120 a week.
Hmm.
So
That's an interesting point. It does probably factor into things a little bit. Um, but
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but there have been at least like 3 weeks so far where the person who beat me has the highest points of the week, and it's a little unfair. But no, years past I've always had really, really good defense, and the last few have been struggling. But just got to get back to that form here.
we can
yeah,
also
you've shown flashes too, Snickers. You had a week against me where you
Yeah,
could have beaten a lot of people.
yeah, no, it could have been you. It was
You
close.
you could have. I needed
Derrick Henry to get 50 points or something. Yeah, it was great.
it was beautiful. It helped me out in my other league too.
Yeah,
Well, and we can see that that Kenny and Kyle both have had very soft schedules so far, not even cracking 100 points a week average against them. So two teams that are doing very well that maybe shouldn't expect to be doing quite as well going forward.
I don't know.
Um,
Kyle's been averaging 600 points or 600 total points, so that's what 120 a week. I wouldn't necessarily say he's getting unnecessary wins. I do agree with Kenny on a little bit. I think I mean, he only got 111 last week, and that was a win. So
yeah, I mean, just kind of eyeballing it, looks like the average score each week is about 110. And so that's
that's what I
about the
thought.
threshold where you can, count on, or not count on winning, but you're likely to win if you get 110 points, and that's his average.
yeah, yeah. But let's look at a couple of the games from last week here. You obviously had um, the upset Kenny over Ducky there, 111 to 109. So yeah, the 110 thing's working out really well for your argument there, Nate.
Yeah, that matchup there kind of demonstrated that one team was just above that threshold, and you, Ducky, were right below it.
Yep.
But keeping the edge over Kenny just because of the tiebreaker, which, as we had Matt clarify for us this week, it is head-to-head matchup, but if there's a three-way tie or more, it goes to points scored, and then if that resolves it, it goes back to head-to-heads for the teams below
So the
that.
way it works is because I haven't played Nick Adams, it can't do head to head for everyone. So it just goes to points for. So if we had a 3-way tie, but I had played Nick Adams, it would default to head to head. If it can't settle it because let's just say I've lost to Kenny, Kenny's lost, Kenny beat Nick, and I beat Nick type of thing where it's a circle, that's when it would default back. But if I lost to Kenny and Kenny, since I lost to Kenny and Kenny has beaten Nick Adams, if I had played Nick Adams, it would have put Kenny above us.
Right. If you beat both of the teams you're tied with, I guess that maybe it's possible to still use that tiebreaker. In other words.
Because that's how it settled the tiebreaker last year. I remember that. That's what got you the
Mhm.
first round bye is because you beat everyone that was 9-4
That
or
sounds
whatever
right.
record we had 10 8, 10.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it
it
was
was 9-4.
9-5, whatever comes out to 14.
Right. And
Yeah,
looking at these matchups here, I mean the real surprise this week was Matt's team was awesome.
yeah. Jamar Chase with 40 points, Lamar Jackson with 34, and Garrett Wilson actually knows how to catch a football. It's
He had
174 points. It's pretty
did he have
good.
like 20 something targets?
Yeah, that
I heard
sounds
he
about
had
right.
like 22,
20.
which is crazy. Yeah. Everyone was excited
Record
about
for
Dontavian Wicks because he had 13 targets last week
yeah.
or 2 weeks ago.
And how many did Dontavian Wicks catch there, Nate? Like three?
That particular week it was like 6, but the week that just happened it was bad. He had a lot of targets and drops.
Yeah.
Um, so that was Matt's best performance of the year. So sorry, Kyler, for that. Um, although Kyler, he's not in the range where he should expect to win there at 100 points. I had a very good week because I was also had benefited from those two barn burner games, the Cincinnati game and the Atlanta game. Both were ridiculous in terms of scoring, fun to watch.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt did come out here. I will tell people, with Mick getting made fun of for spending a lot of money, and kind of deserved because I spent a lot of unnecessary money, but I've also been getting a lot of trade offers for this guy. A couple people have been texting me about him, and I haven't given him up. So,
No, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about all the additions you've made so far, Ducky, so far this season. Been pretty interesting, but let's get into some news real quick before we break into that.
yeah,
We
what's
got a couple guys coming back. Start with the good news: Joe Mixon, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Nick Chubb's not coming back yet, but probably soon. We got a couple big injuries. Malik Neighbors still out with concussion. Jordan Mason played Thursday night. He's going to be out for maybe a week or two. Jonathan Taylor's still out. And of course, there's this big saga revolving around Devontae Adams, who's on someone's IR right now because he's technically injured. But I don't know. What team do you think Devontae's going to end up on, guys? Steelers, Saints, Chiefs, Jets, Ravens, who?
For me, it's between the Jets and the Chiefs, and I really don't want either to be true.
He's not going to the Chiefs. He's going to go to the Jets if he goes. I think personally.
I mean, the Chiefs have the biggest need. I mean, they're 5-0. They look great, but their passing game is kind of boring, and they know that.
Yeah, but my thought on that is, one, you're trading in division, and a lot of teams don't like doing that. And the other part is, do they really want the Chiefs' second-round pick if they're going to get a second-round pick? I don't know what they'll give up. Like, that would be 50? That would be in the 60s?
Yeah.
Because they're going to – I mean, you give them Devontae Adams, that pretty much locks them in as a deep playoff team to Super Bowl team.
Yeah,
you're not going to get your return on investment, whereas if you go to the Jets, I think – you're betting on the Jets just, jetsing it up.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess I wonder if the NFL teams are really that petty to just try to screw their rival because, if they can get the Chiefs to give up a first or second round pick, that team is the Raiders are going to benefit a lot from that. He's not really worth a second round pick unless you frame it as, well, you guys had a chance to three-peat. That's like a historic thing.
Didn't the Steelers do it in the 70s?
No one's ever three-peated.
Oh.
Except, the Packers won the championship before the Super Bowl started, but we're not counting that. And then won the first two Super Bowls.
So I think there's a world if the Chiefs really want him, they can get it done. They're going to have to overpay. But
if I really don't want this to happen. If I was the Chiefs, I'd give them whatever they wanted to three-peat. That's insane, but that'd be insane. Yeah, I'm thinking hopefully Jets or Saints or whatever, some team there. It's not going to make a difference because no one cares. But another controversy was Josh Allen on Sunday. You guys watching him against the Texans where he definitely got a concussion?
No.
The NFL came out this morning saying we definitely checked him. He definitely didn't have a concussion, and they're definitely lying. So,
I didn't see it, but I heard a lot of reports of it, and it does sound like it's the Tua situation all over again, and they better hope.
It was a back injury.
Yeah,
chest or back or something. But
and then he comes out and gets a concussion this week because he's still in concussion protocol.
Yeah, and I heard from some people that when he was on the ground, he was in like one of those telltale poses where someone just had a head injury because of the way their arms are arranged and things like that.
He wasn't moving. It was a little scary. But let's look ahead to this upcoming week here.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, look at his arm is.
Yeah. Oh, because he's probably lost consciousness. That makes sense. Okay. What do you want, Snickers?
No, I was saying let's look ahead to this upcoming week here. Obviously, what's really interesting is Karson already has 66 points over John's 4 after Thursday Night Football.
And he's already beaten the projections.
Yeah, let's dig into that for a second. I'm curious, what can John fix this problem?
John does not
I
have
got
any
to
running
imagine.
backs or defense yet.
I didn't know that Ramondre is injured, actually.
Didn't he play last week? Yeah, he played. He's got a
He
touchdown.
did. He came out, and Antonio
okay.
Gibson played most of the game. But
Is Jonathan Taylor's officially out?
yeah,
Okay.
Joe Mixon's back though, so he has to pick up another running back, which means he probably has to drop Shakir or something.
Well, he's got
Should move
Madison in the
Latavius up.
flex.
No, he's got Alexander Madison. Sorry, I didn't see that because I don't think of him as being very good. But
He isn't, but he can. I know that John doesn't use the waiver wire a lot, although he has gone there a couple times. He can solve this with just getting a new defense off the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then overcoming the 62-point hole he's in.
I mean, I guess so, but that is, I mean, thankfully, I mean, those three players had a good game, but that was three of their players. So
That's true, and he's also
Karson-
starting Trey Benson, who I don't know why. I think Karson needs to pick up a running back more than John does.
And just based on how he's arranged his lineup, I think he thinks he's all set for the week. So
I mean, I think I would be shocked if he's going to lose. I mean, he's projected to get 123. Even these guys underperform, I still think he beats John. There's not going to be much on the waiver. Although I guess if Joe Mixon does have a good game, I don't know what the New England strategy is going to be. Stop the run or pass. So
yeah, and is Antonio Gibson out there because I dropped him. I didn't see the injury about Ramondre.
I picked him up at about 11 o'clock last night, Nate.
Okay.
But yeah, that's an interesting matchup. I'm also looking at Kyle and Nick Adams.
Well, Jeremy McNichols is on the waiver wire, and he can be he scored in like 3 weeks in a row, or maybe just 2 weeks in a row. But
He scored, I think, 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Yeah, on like 12 total yards. But that's a good asset to have there.
yeah, what's going on here, Nick?
But yeah, this is just a high-powered matchup here. 4-1 versus 5-0. Projections are pretty similar here. Everyone on their teams are projected to be pretty good. Except Nick Adams doesn't have his guy Juju Smith-Schuster, who's obviously the Devontae Adams replacement there. They don't need anyone else.
Yeah, I can say I've been talking a lot to Nick Adams this week. He really wanted Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle, and we were talking about some kind of Brock Bowers deal there. It didn't happen, but I think we both left it feeling open to considering it in future weeks. But yeah, Nick Adams' team is not looking too bad in my opinion right now, other than that he needs a second running back, which is why he was talking to me.
Personally, I think his team is the most complete team out there. Like, there's no one on his team where I feel like, other than Barkley, that's going to drop 400 points on you. But I don't think any of these guys will put up under 10.
You don't think Shake and Bake's going to drop 400 points on you?
You know what? Didn't he drop like 35 last week?
Something like that. In week 1, he did pretty well too. But
he was part of the epic showdown with the Falcons.
Yeah.
That was 2 weeks ago
that he dropped 30. That's what it was.
That's the second time he's done it.
Yep. But then he's followed it up with what was that? That was a 16 and an 8.
Yeah.
16 is like average in my mind, but yeah, 8 sucks, of course.
Yeah, Ducky, how do you feel about your matchup this week? After a tough loss, you have another tough matchup this week.
If I lose this week, I'm just gonna crawl under a rock.
What kind of live bet are you ready to make right now if you lose this week? You gonna come chug a beer? You want to eat a pepper? You want to wear a T-shirt that says Katie's the best? Or
I'll shotgun a beer.
Okay.
I'll do the Nick Adams Kenny special.
Nice.
Wow, yeah, you heard it here first, and you would deserve it because Katie's team is struggling.
Is Devin Singletary back?
It's questionable. He's on my team.
Okay. Because Tyrone Tracy is like the one X factor that she has on her team.
I mean, given that he's listed at 5.5, I would guess then that that Singletary's no projection to be back.
Yeah. Also, Sunday Night Football between the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Giants. You guys hear the controversy about the Commanders and Ravens were trying to flex into Sunday Night Football and they weren't allowing them to?
Huh. No, I hadn't heard
It's
that.
obviously the best game of the week.
That will be a good game, but I mean the Giants are a sneaky team.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have a good defense, so that could just be a shootout.
I agree. They've been more entertaining this year than expected, but without Malik Neighbors there, I think that's the reason, right? That they're fun to watch, and he's not there.
Well, they scored 30 last week against Seattle. I don't necessarily know if Seattle's a good team, but I was watching that, and Wandale Robinson and Darius Slayton had pretty good games.
Yeah, and a pick six helped too, but
That was a blocked field goal, 6.
Block.
I'll have you know. I know this because I had the Seattle kicker, and that cost me 2 points, which I'm pretty sure is what cost me the game.
Wow.
Yeah. Basically, the kicker threw an interception. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, kick six. You haven't seen one of those in a while. That was fun.
Yeah, I do appreciate that Katie has Kendrick Bourne on her team because the Bridge Master himself is.
Speaking of the bridge, I love watching Seattle because they have Pharaoh Brown on their team. He always comes into block, doesn't catch anything. But
not a lot of opportunities to celebrate his right now, but you never know. Yeah, so I'm projecting you to win that game, Nick. I'm not gonna lie.
I would hope so.
117 projection going into the week. That's pretty good.
But I'm curious if you guys think I can beat Kenny. I mean, obviously we know that Kenny's the worst fantasy player in the league year after year. And I'm feeling very fortunate that I'm facing up against him right at the beginning of what's going to become a very long losing streak. But I do think I have a very well-rounded team. My biggest hole is tight end, which is why I've been talking with other tight end people. But Mark Andrews, maybe he shouldn't have given me hope last week, but I decided to take it as a hopeful thing that he scored almost 8 points.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're projected to win right now.
I think you'd probably pull this off, although Christian Kirk's feisty.
Like he's scared of Christian Kirk.
I am. He dropped like 17 and then 19 against me. Oh no, it was 16 and he only got 10 last week.
I mean, that's a for wide receivers, you get above 10, you've had a good game, I think. So
no, I mean Kenny's team honestly looks pretty good. A lot of like star players other than Jameer, and now Tucker Kraft's obviously a star player. But yeah, if Kenny beats you with Chuba Hubbard, Nate, how are you gonna feel?
It would feel like some comeuppance, I guess, but it's not gonna happen. Chuba has a healthy projection there. I actually don't really know what Atlanta's run block is this year. But his team's not scary. I've got all of these guys on my roster can blow up.
Chuba's been kind of on fire recently. Yeah. Even against Chicago, who has a good defense, he got almost 100 yards.
Yeah. He's the 9th best running back in the league.
Is this the week that their new rookie comes back, or is that next week?
No, Jonathan Brooks is still projected 0, so I think they were targeting week 6 originally, but it sounds like he's not back yet.
There's no news on him, it seems like.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess he might actually be
he may return to practice next week, so it sounds like he's not playing.
Okay. I do think Chuba is somehow maybe the third scariest player on his team, although Chris Godwin has had a very good year.
It's been kind of volatile.
But he's been also relying a lot on Brian Robinson. I don't know what happened to him, but he doesn't seem to have. Did you cover him in the news, Nick?
No, but he's questionable. He's probably not going to play. He's not going to get rolled out yet, but he got an injury last week in his knee, so that's always fun for running backs.
And I'm kind of happy to see that Jalen Hurts is playing the Browns because the Browns don't know how to score. I feel like they've scored like 3 touchdowns on the year or something, and so the Eagles aren't going to have to throw that much.
Hmm.
So it's going to be all about whether Saquon maybe can take over and do all the scoring for him, and then that'll
Yeah.
make hurt his thing. I've actually had some trouble just deciding who to play this week because now that Devin Singletary and Rico Dowdle are both back in, you know, I've got a lot of guys who could fill that flex spot. What do you guys think?
Yeah. No, definitely.
I see 4 guys on your team that could all drop 5 or 20.
I
On
think
my
you should
bench,
definitely play Dontavian Wicks again.
yeah, I'm gonna wait to see that he does it. I don't need him. I have AJ Brown and Drake London and all of these running backs. So
If you don't need him, why did you spend $17 on him?
because you always gotta um take the best player out there. We saw Nico Collins went down. There was when I picked him up, AJ Brown was on not on IR but was out. So it's the same philosophy as you, Nick. You keep spending up on some of these guys just because you know that injuries happen and situations change. I think a lot of my running backs are in a little bit of tenuous situations.
Yeah, but Ducky, do you want to talk about how you've had 15 transactions so far that you, even though your team looks pretty good and was pretty good from the start, you're still kind of hedging your bets, trying to make sure you get the right guys, especially Tyler Johnson. A lot of our fans have been asking about that pick.
That was due to the fact that Puka went down. I was trying to catch lightning in a bottle. I went after Tyler Johnson and then who was the other one? Donovan Robinson or something like that.
Marcus Robinson, yeah.
I wanted one of the two. I had it set up so that I'd only take one. I was hoping to catch lightning in a bottle. Obviously, it didn't happen. But at least I was able to go get Tutu, who has kind of been the number one guy there for free. So he's been kind of filling my void while I wait for Pacheco. I can't really discredit my take on Karson Steele. He had a great first week after Pacheco went down, and then he fumbled, and Andy Reid, I'm pretty sure, executed him right there on the spot because he has not been seen. Should probably put an APB out on him.
Yeah, no, that's tough. But this week, looking at the free agent offers report, there wasn't a lot of spending on like the previous few weeks here, but Nick Adams did pick up Juju for $11 off that 100-yard performance. Obviously, Juju's the best receiver on the team.
Going into
DeAndre Hopkins for $4. It's pretty good. And Nate coming back with Huge. After I told you to pick him back up, you spent another $1 on him.
Yeah, that's the minimum. I didn't think anyone would bid on him. He was on bye last week, so I thought, let's see what Huge can do. I think there's still a chance that he's a handy guy to have on the bench.
Yeah,
I don't hate that pickup. If you got the bench spot, he's not a bad guy to have.
Now, I had I known that Ramondre was injured when I did it, I might not have dropped Antonio Gibson, but
you dropped Zach Ertz, not Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I guess I dropped Antonio Gibson the week before that. I think maybe I dropped him to pick up Zach Ertz actually. Now that I'm noticing that.
Oh, it sounds like you have a revolving door there.
Well, Zach Ertz, I couldn't face the potential 3 in a row of the zeros from Mark Andrews. That's why I picked up Zach.
Yeah. I'm in the same position in the league. If I hit 3 zeros, I would have dropped Mark Andrews onto the waivers, and that would have been rough.
So, but we also had a trade happen for you, Nick. What went on there?
I've been kind of monitoring Shane's team because I feel like he's got I'll just quickly pull up his team, but I feel like he has like a team that has talent and they've just underperformed. Like he's got Breece Hall hasn't really done what Breece Hall's supposed to do. Devon Achane has been injured, obviously. Cooper Kupp got injured. That hurts him. So I was just kind of finding a way to try to make the trade. Now, had I realized Brian Robinson was out, I probably wouldn't have gone with Austin Eckler. I didn't think I don't know if Brian Robinson was ruled out at the time or anything. I didn't really hear about that until 2 minutes ago. But I'm just looking at it as let's just shore up the wide receiver. It's the one area that I'm kind of weakest at. Because Wan'Dale Robinson right now is the number one wideout on the Giants, but when Malik Neighbors comes back, he's going to be like a flex start. And Tank Dell has been atrocious this year. He's like he's a non-factor. So I'm just trying to shore up everything. And Cooper Kupp's coming back in a week or two, from what it sounds like. So help me get through the gauntlet. I haven't played Nick Adams or Kyle yet, so try to get that really strong front so I can get because if I can get the wins there, then I have the head-to-head at least if it comes to that. And then points for, Kupp, if Kupp does what Kupp does, he's going to get me the points for too.
Yeah, I mean that could put you over the top, I admit. It doesn't, obviously it sets you back a little bit next year, but we're seeing teams who have traded away top picks still looking okay this year.
Kyle's 5-0 and he traded away his third. I traded away a fourth, which is theoretically worse than a third. So
no, I don't think the trade's that bad. Especially everything you've done so far, it sounds like you're going all in this year, unlike the Cowboys. And I think you got to go for it. Go trade some more first round picks for the best guys out there, and just suck next year, whatever.
Yeah, and
all the Rams, F them picks.
And it's too bad you're missing an Austin Eckler during the week of his most opportunity, but you're also playing Katie. So if you lose to Katie, some regrets there, of course. But
well, part of the trade was also Kupp's on bye, and he says he's coming back, or Sean McVay I think says he's going to start practicing next week, so he'll be
targeted
back
week 7, but no guarantees.
So I can get through this week with him on bye. Would Austin Eckler go in? Probably go in over. Actually, I don't know if I'd want to sit Tank Dell, because this is his first week that he has potential. So it's like I could put in Austin Eckler and he could get me 20. He could also has the potential to get me 5. Depending on how that script goes, it might just turn into an airmail game where Jaden Daniels gets like 900 points.
Austin Eckler's a good receiving back, though. One of the best.
True. Yeah.
But no, I think it was a fun trade, and you did it correctly, which it's fun if you're told the rules ahead of time. But no,
yeah, we know now the commissioners work with an iron fist, and we've been warned. But
there is one thing I wanted to point out. Matt has picked up Drake May.
Nice.
I love it.
Yep, I see that there. But too bad for my drunk team that I don't have Jacoby Brissett anymore.
I think that's a desperation pickup, not for his fantasy team, but for the Patriots. He so badly wants to look like the genius who knew Drake May was gonna be good all along.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever going to play in front of Lamar Jackson except for the bye week, but yeah, that's definitely a pickup there.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, on that as an NFL decision, I hope that we don't ruin Drake May because of all this. The line couldn't protect Brissett at all, and I respect Brissett a lot as a quarterback, and he looked awful. So,
obviously it'll be interesting to watch him this week, but I'm pretty sure Houston has a good defense. So if they just do the strategy of what the Jets did, which is send 6 guys every time, I think Drake May will literally be running for his life for the entirety of his offensive game.
That's what I fear. Yeah. But yeah, we've got it's going to be an interesting week again. No hot takes today. Anything else from you guys before we close out the show?
No, excited for another week, but Nate, you have a little shout out you want to give
for
people out there?
That's right. I'm in Minneapolis this week instead of at home in Boston, and my brother and I are doing the Alzheimer's 50-mile bike ride. Good organization. So something to be to just remember when you're considering places to be donating to, I guess, is that the organization's very does a lot of good work.
Love it.
So yeah. And then if you stop sharing, Nick, I can close this out. So yeah, we will. Thanks for joining this week, everyone, and we'll see you all next time.